Welcome to the garden. Today I'm making a beautiful tomato sauce. I've got a whole bunch of cherry tomatoes, a couple yellow ones, some Romas, some beefsteaks. Some of these aren't fully ripe, but they'll do fine in a sauce. To reduce a little bit of that moisture content to get a thicker sauce, I'm actually going to split these cherries and remove the seeds. So just like we do on our sun-dried tomatoes, I'm going to try and find a seam. There's usually a kind of a cleft, and we want to go perpendicular to that. But you can do any type of tomato, and some of these really aren't perfect, but they'll do just fine once we cook them down. And my secret is lots of salt, lots of garlic, and lots of herbs. We're going to be using a lot of herbs here in the mint family. Greek oregano is my favorite. I've got some fresh from the garden, but this is one that actually intensifies as it dries. So if you dry some in the sun, it'll actually strengthen in flavor. I've got thyme, rosemary, and basil. Making tomato sauce is a great way to use half-damaged fruit. Sometimes you'll get little bite marks or splits, but once you cut them all up and boil them into a sauce, they all just blend together beautifully. This is also the perfect time to save your seeds. So I'll save up some cherry tomato seeds, but when we go to cut our beefsteak and our Roma, and especially our yellow, we'll make sure to set those aside and mark them. That way we can grow them again next year. These are a beautiful heirloom. But the Romas, I usually just quarter, keeping the seeds. There's not too many seeds. There's actually not too much moisture. But scoring these skins will help them cook a little bit quicker too. You can cut off any blemishes. We'll just get rid of that. And the beefsteak, I'm actually going to keep all the seeds in here as well. I think they have a nice, kind of a pizza sauce tomato flavor. We can always save some seeds if we like to. These just look so nice, we might as well save those. Now I'm just going to eyeball it when it comes to the salt. I do like a lot of salt on my sauce though. I'll probably do at least these 2 really big cloves, maybe even a third one. I really like a lot of garlic. So we've got a decent bowl here, even though we took out all these seeds. Look at all that moisture. This would all have to reduce on the stovetop, or we would just have a thinner sauce at the end. So it's going to be nice and thick and very sweet. That really brings out the sweetness in the cherry tomatoes, because most of those sour notes are actually in those seeds. There was just a hummingbird in the garden. It flew right above our little setup here, and its wings actually blew these little shells of the garlic. That was awesome. To prep our herbs, I'm simply just going to strip the leaves off of the stem. We don't want that woody stem. You could throw it in with your sauce and then fish it out, but I don't like to fiddle with that at the end. I just like to pop it right in. But we'll toss in our oregano and our thyme. Thyme can be a little tricky, just very kind of delicate, so peeling those stems down can be a little bit tedious. Now when we go to cook this on the stovetop, it is going to get really soupy. We'll just reduce that a little bit until it thickens up, and then we'll put it in the blender. It's a good idea to let it cool before we put it in the blender. If it's hot, it's going to create a lot of steam, and it can spew sauce all over the place. So we'll reduce it a bit on the stove, adding our garlic and our herbs, and then we'll blend it to a beautiful consistency. I've reduced it down to a fairly nice consistency, and remember, we are going to blend this once it's cool, but while it's still warm, it's a good idea to give it a taste test. This is perfect, but you may need to add a little salt, and if you've overdone the salt, you could add a pinch of sugar just to counteract that. This is also a great time to add any last minute touches. A little fresh cracked pepper. A little red wine is really nice. Complements the acidity in the tomatoes, and it provides a beautiful flavor. Just a couple of splashes of that. And I'm also going to add some more fresh basil. This has such a wonderful flavor when it's fresh. And as it cooks, it turns brown, so we'll keep that bright green color. But it adds a beautiful color and just a really nice bright flavor. Isn't that beautiful? You could even garnish with some oregano flowers. Let's mix this in and give it another taste. I can smell that wine. So let's give it another taste test. Oh yeah, it's much more complex. Now I'll take this inside, and in probably 2 or 3 different batches, we'll just blend it up in a blender. Get it nice and smooth. And from there it can be used fresh, just reheat it. It can be frozen to be used again over winter. And of course, if you like it more rustic, you could just leave it like this. I managed to get 2 nice Tupperware containers. So I think one we're going to put in the fridge and one we'll put in the freezer for later. The sauce does turn a little bit lighter color, almost orange, once it goes in the blender. That's just all that air being introduced into that sauce. But this is really tasty stuff. That's excellent. I like to pair it with the wine that's in the sauce. Really nice complementary flavors. So I hope you give this a go. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.